Are you ready? What's my name? What's my name? Say Kareem Ali. Say Kareem Ali. You're listening to
Are you serious?
the Hip Hop Debate Show.
Okay, so hear me out.
The official podcast of Kareem Ali. In about 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak. Kareem Ali TV. This is the Are You Serious podcast where we debate various topics through the lens of hip hop culture. And today on the show, we got my man Slankster Hughes, as always, MC, poet, activist, Baltimore City, hailing by way of Pittsburgh, PA. We got my man Illa Soul, hip hop dancer, graffiti artist, photographer, MC, extraordinaire, all the elements of hip hop culture.
DJ
Raymond McLeod. And today, the first time, we got the sister, dope MC, Martina Lynch, aka Tina Turned Up, which is this incredible MC, lyricist, poet, activist. And today, you know, we're talking about, I don't know if this is going to be much of a debate, and I pity the fool or some Mr. T shit, whoever defies this. Yeah, I saw a Facebook post going around. It was everywhere. It went viral. Someone said that Lauryn Hill wasn't a legend. She only made a legendary album. And this shit irritated me to the core. You have this Lauryn Hill, one of the greatest MCs of all time, not a femc. No, she's better than, I mean, it's arguable that had she did more work, Lauryn Hill would have been, you know, in the top 10, rivaling most men that we put in that topic. I mean, she could rap on a high level, she could sing on a high level, and whoever said that really lacked perspective, because they're looking at just her one album, The Miseducation, which has aged very well. We still talk about the nigga Zion is like 24 right now. You know what I'm saying? But they don't look back at the album she had with the Fugees. But I want to bring in Martina. What do you think about this statement, Martina? What do you think about Lauryn Hill?
Man, that's crazy. I feel like she's a legend just because of the fact that still to this day nobody has done what she's done. And then it's the fact that her album has went platinum over and over again. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's untouchable.
Diamond, 11 times platinum.
Diamond. Yeah.
Wow.
Slankster, you want to weigh in on this, Slick Vic?
So I think that one, that's blasphemy. It's a blasphemous statement. It's a very ignorant statement. I think that a lot of the mythos surrounding Lauryn Hill alone makes her legendary, but also infamous in a way that people pay attention to a lot of the mythos of Lauryn Hill and forget about the artistic substance that is Lauryn Hill. Like, for one, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is a legendary album by a legendary artist, but it's not even her only contribution as an artist or contribution to the culture as a whole. Like, Lauryn Hill is a legend because, one, of her ability to do multiple things as an artist, singing and emceeing. Her live performance is legendary. She was on not just a legendary album of her own making as a solo artist, but also a legendary album as a group. A legendary group album, The Score by the Fugees, was a classic even before her album was a classic. So she was a part of that legendary album. Then you could argue that even though Wyclef had more albums, she might have had the best single album out of anyone from that group. Definitely, we compare her album to Praz's album. That's not even a discussion. You know why? You know, some people might say the Carnival was on the same level as classic album as Lauryn Hill's album, but I think The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that album has weathered the test of time even more than any of the solo Wyclef genre releases. And then you look at, she was in a legendary film in Sister Act 2, you know, she had a legendary role, a legendary film, and it's probably the most memorable character from that movie. And then let's not even get into, you know, the legendary aspect of her celebrity when you talk about, you know, her and the Marley guy getting married, and, you know, how many kids does she have? Where she, reggae royalty. She disappeared. Like, even the celebrity gossip aspect of Lauryn Hill. How late is she going to show up for her show? Like, all of that even adds to the mythos. And then, not to mention, she had a legendary Unplugged album, Like out of all the unplugged MTV albums, hers might be the most legendary. It's probably between hers, Pearl Jam's, and Nirvana's, you know, and then Jay-Z's probably too is up there. But a legendary unplugged album, like when she spit that poem at like the end of the set, just straight bars, like was like,
Advanced
oh wow,
MC.
like
Advanced.
Nobody even knew about those bars. Like what song was that? Nobody even knew. It was like exclusive bars. Like so, yeah, it's a nonsense statement. But I would say the mindset that creates that statement is steeped in people knowing more about Lauryn Hill, the myth, than they do about Lauryn Hill, the legend.
Exactly. And I'm going to give Illa Soul a chance to respond because I know he's been brewing. We talked off air and he was really, really frustrated about this topic. So, brother, the floor is yours.
Oh, we talking about this album. This one. Okay, so I just it's kind of crazy because for whoever that girl is that said that, like, oh, she's not a legend, she just made like a legendary album. It's just like, what prompted you to say that? That's just weird to me. Like, we talking about Lauryn Hill. Like, she's not in the category. She's not in the category with nobody. Like, she is the category. Like, she's definitely the category. Like, just the legendary shit that she have done. This album, like when you listen to it from the beginning to the end, right? Like, understand this. Like, do people understand even the artwork of the album, right? Like, this is a desk of her face carved into the desk. The title is carved into the desk. And she has a pencil up there. Everybody can relate to this. She took people back to school of how it feels to be Black. Like, she's been on this pro-Black shit for the longest time. Like, if you listen to this album, a lot of people have found their divine, like their divine entity from that. They found the essence of themselves. As a Black person, you found the essence of yourself through this album. You found yourself. You know what it's like to be you feel the power from this album as a Black woman too. Like, she gave, like she breathed life into the Black man and the Black woman at the same time in this album. It's just like, how can people, and that girl that made that statement, it's no way she listened to this album. There's no way she listened to it. If she did, she probably listened to like the popular songs and then said, oh, it didn't make her opinion. But like, that shit is just invalid to me. Like, this album is the greatest album of all time. Like, wow. And this is coming from, like, this shit should be in a museum somewhere.
It really should.
Martina, as a Black woman, Martina, what did Lauryn Hill mean to you, her imagery, and then as an MC, how did she influence you to MC at the level that you do?
Everything that she's done, I feel like definitely paved like a way for artists like me. Because it's like, when I listen to women like Lauryn Hill, it's like, she's someone who's done like what I'm attempting to do and like what I would love to accomplish one day. So it's like, I don't see how any like young woman or like a woman of my generation could like disrespect somebody of her status, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, she's just done so much like for the culture, for hip hop, for R&B, and for music as a whole. It's like, her music just touches people differently, and I want to have that same effect like when I'm doing my music and when people are listening to me. So it's like, I feel like a lot of the artists today and a lot of my music wouldn't resonate the same if it wasn't for like Lauryn Hill, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I want to say too that, Lauryn Hill, just the positive imagery that she portrayed for Black women, as opposed to some of the other sisters out there. She wasn't over-sexualized. She was beautiful in her natural state. She didn't pay for titties and ass or anything like that, any enhancements. She wore her natural hair. And all those things are just very, very important to see that she was very intellectual, the concepts, the storytelling, the musicality, the level of lyricism, and then the world-class vocal ability she displayed. She was unbelievable. So anybody that would say that, they really lack perspective and they need to be re-educated. How about that?
And to
so many of those hit songs off of the score wouldn't have been the same without her vocalization on there. Talking about, Ready or Not.
The remake of the Jackson 5 song, Ready or Not. Lauryn Hill did that.
Let me piggyback off.
Are you kidding?
Go ahead, Raymond. What do you have to say?
A lot of people, because when Drake first came out, right, and he was doing like the singing and the rapping and shit, people act like that was like the most rarest shit that they ever seen. But Lauryn Hill been doing that
and doing it better.
He was doing like she was been. Yeah,
Lauryn Hill definitely did better.
He pop sings, but what I'm saying is like Lauryn Hill been embodied both talents. Like she's a soul
singer.
Like she's a soul singer. The fact first of all, if you are a black woman, right? Forget all that. If you're a black person and you listen to this album and you have that type of opinion, as such as what the girl said, something is wrong, because this right here is putting the power back into black people. This is putting, like, think about it. At that time, right? Especially look at the time that we were at the time, like things were happening back then too, right? Lauryn Hill decided she wanted to take her own route, and people really like looked at her story. She's been through a whole lot, not even just in the personal life, but in the music industry too. Just being a woman, being a black woman, and still finding the power to empower her people through an album. And this still resonates to this day. This is what black empowerment looks like in a music form and in a physical form. This is what black empowerment is. All that false empowerment shit people doing today, that ain't it. This is it. And people need to follow the formula of this. That's all I want to say.
The passion. I mean, it's smokes and flames over here coming from that side of the roof. Call the fire department.
I tell you two legendary Lauryn Hill moments that people probably forget about. One that most people probably don't even know about, but one on the Dave Chappelle Block Party film, when Lauryn Hill came out to perform, and at the time wasn't even allowed to perform any of her own music because of the record situation, of the contract situation. And somebody in the crowd was like, "Where you been?" And she was like, "See all these kids behind me? Like, this is where I've been. I've been raising a family." Like, and then brought the Fugees out to perform the Fugees songs because they were allowed to perform those songs. But really, they just wanted Lauryn Hill there by herself for that film. And
it was a great moment to have the Fugees together, though. It was a great moment to have
them. Absolutely. And then the second moment, there's actually a YouTube video of like a young Lauryn Hill from like the Teen Summit days. Like
Teen Summit, I was going to bring that up.
But this wasn't even on Teen Summit, but this was around that time period where she schools Jeru the Damager in the debate.
I remember.
Just like having in the middle of New Jersey somewhere, and she schools him like on the perspective of like black women in the struggle, because he was trying to kind of downplay it, and she set it on fire. Like
Raymond and Martina was still y'all was barely alive at that point.
I've seen that. I actually seen that where they had the discussion with Jeru the Damager. It was some other folks that was there too. But I did see that interview, and I've actually watched over it. I've actually watched that video multiple times. And the way that she's just her own entity. Like she could just stand in a room full of people, and it's like she just sticks out like a sore thumb. Like she's her own. You can't put her under like nobody else's shadow. You can't do that with her. Like with all these other people, like all these other rappers, no disrespect to them, but if you put like a Cardi B or something like that, oh, she's under the shadow of a Lil' Kim, Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion. Like you could see they all in the category. They all in that same category. You can't do that with Lauryn. Like name five women that you could put in the same category as Lauryn Hill. I'll wait.
No, you really can't. Not the mainstream industry females of today. Like
what about underground artists or MCs? Who do you think took the lineage from Lauryn Hill?
Underground, like all right. See,
I'm asking Martina. Let me ask Martina real quick. Martina, I want to ask Martina.
Underground. Right, it's still kind of hard to even say underground, but I guess the only person right now that I would say like that's kind of like main. I mean, of course, I would say myself, but besides me, I would say like maybe like Rhapsody. Like she be doing her thing. She be on her real music. Her lyrical versatility. So I would say maybe Rhapsody, but I don't know. That's it. Like I can't really think.
Well, definitely Martina. Definitely you. I've listened to you extensively over the last couple of weeks. Definitely you. You're definitely in the same vein in terms of your lyrical ability and talent. I would like to offer, there's a sister named Cyrock out of DC that's ridiculously talented. And there's also a sister out of New Orleans named 3D NATEE who's amazing as well and very versatile. She's amazing. And Martina, I think you're in the range of those sisters. You have a chance. You could be one of the best in the world
Y'all know who Shay Noah is? Y'all know who that is? Shay Noah? She's from Buffalo, New York. Please, I'm gonna sing some of her music.
Please do.
Shay Noah is the truth.
I would cite Seamus the Great.
Sister from
Africa.
Zimbabwe. I thought she was from Zimbabwe. That's Central Africa, I believe.
Yeah, African MC.
She's amazing. She's amazing. And her music videos on a very high level. Like they're like movie quality. Pixelation.
And then speaking of upstate New York, there's a group of two sisters by the name of Katani. Katie the Poet and Amani O Plus Katani. They have a really dope project.
Why is that form of hip hop, female hip hop, presented in the mainstream? We need that type of imagery.
Well,
why is that?
I think that also speaks to the deeper aspects. If you really want to get deeper into the rabbit hole of what the mainstream record industry has always been, is a commodification of Black culture, specifically hip hop, created by Black people. What happens when Black people create something? They take it, they commodify it, and they sell it back to us in a form that is not as recognizable as its original essence. And so, talk about what happened when the CIA infiltrated the record industry and how they put forth a mandate to only put forth certain images and to dominate the airwaves of certain content and certain images. So it dumbs down the consciousness of young Black people throughout the early to mid-90s. That went into play. And so you can't have empowering images of intelligent, skilled, naturally presenting Black women. That goes against the agenda of dumbing down Black consciousness. And you said it right there. There's only three really mainstream artists who, when they made a big splash and the powers that be came to them and was like, all right, this is the trajectory of your career from now on. This is what you're going to do if you want to continue to make this amount of money and have this amount of success. This is the agenda. We're recruiting you to join this certain society of artists and this certain level of availability to this amount of money and this amount of accessibility. There's only three big time artists who, when that happened to them, they were like, nah, I'm gonna keep my integrity, I'm gonna keep my freedom, I'm gonna walk this way.
Name those artists.
Dave Chappelle.
Facts.
Prince Rogers Nelson.
Facts.
And Lauryn motherfucking Hill.
Of course.
Those are the only ones that I know of who were like at that level. And when the devil basically was like, hey, here's your slave papers so you can continue doing this. And they was like, nah, nigga. Those are the only three who definitively was like, no. And when you do that, what happens? They say you're crazy. They say, you've lost your mind. Conspiracy theories start to surround you. Prince is a weirdo. Dave Chappelle's lost his mind. Lauryn Hill is crazy. We don't know where she went. Like, they left.
It might have happened to more than we think. Might have happened to Martin Lawrence. Remember when Martin had that breakdown, was running to the middle of the street naked?
Yep.
And see, usually what happens is they try to paint you as like going crazy, and then some kind of situation happens that they set up. But with those three, they exited left under their own circumstances.
Martina, has there ever been a situation, you as a female MC, that someone tried to pressure you to maybe change yourself, maybe over sexualize yourself and make the emphasis on your physique and not on your bars? Does that happen to you?
For sure. Like 2020, I spent like a lot of time in Atlanta and just meeting up with different producers and like different people who just like, they say they know this person and that person and all this and that. But it's just like, I definitely ran into a lot of people who told me, oh, like, you need to be like this, you need to be like that, like you need to be like Megan, you need to be like Cardi. Like I met people who like offered to like give me money to like get my body done and shit.
Right.
And it's just like, I just feel like, why do females, like why when it's like a woman like coming into the industry, it's like the first thing, especially like when it comes to like working with men in the industry, they just telling you like how to like over sexualize yourself, like what you need to get done to fit in with the rest of the industry. And it's just like yeah, it just made me feel fucked up. Like if I was a man, what I had came down here and like had to get my body changed, like why do I have to think about?
And we respect you for not doing it. You shouldn't have to, because you're more talented than most people. So it shouldn't matter. Go ahead, Raymond. What'd you just say, brother?
I'm gonna let you in on a conversation. One of my good friends, right, and she's actually a known rapper. I don't really put it out there like that, but her name is Snow the Product.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of her?
We heard of her.
Yeah.
Okay. So Snow, I've been knowing Snow the Product for probably like 4 or 5 years now. And I'm actually very close to her DJ as well. I had a conversation with her one day after a show. And we was talking, we had like a good 30, 45-minute conversation. And I was just like asking her, I was like, look, like I already know your background, you know, and stuff like that. But like now talking to you, like, how do you feel about this industry, you know, as a woman? And certain things that she was telling me, she was like, you know, like the same kind of things that Martina was saying. Like she's been through the times where people were trying to tell her, or the label, because she was signed with Atlantic. And Atlanta was like, well, you know, maybe if you do this, maybe if you like, you kind of be more sexual, like, you know, get away from the, you know, the tomboyish and shit, like, because she's a tomboy for real, like tomboy, tomgirl thing. Like she's a mixture of that. But like, if she talk about this in her music and everything else, and they act like, she was telling me like the labels act like they didn't know what to do with her. But yo, the shit that she's been doing, it's been working before she signed with a label. I remember it was a time when she was coming up, like it was really hard for her because she was a Mexican rapper, number one. She was a woman, and like people didn't want to listen to her at first. Like nobody wanted to listen to her at first when she was coming out. And now she got on and she got the fan base that she needed. That's why I think it's very important for like artists to have leverage. Like that's very important. So when you go to these meetings or you go to these labels, execs or whoever, you get to be able to say no because you have leverage. You have something that you can show that, hey, this shit been working for me for the longest time. And you like me. You obviously you like something about me. Why do you want to change that? And I think more artists need to come out and start saying these types of things, because I don't think that is being said. And they look at the money. They look at the money and they be like, oh shit, I can do so much with this money. But yeah, you got to give up your integrity. They are buying your integrity. That's what they're doing. And so with Snow the Product, that's why I respect her a lot, because I've seen her struggle. I've seen her do all the things that it took for her to get to where she is. And for her to be a woman and still going, like she's doing her own music videos, she's doing her own thing. She don't got to answer to nobody. I think that's the route that a lot of artists need to take. And for you, Martina, as a woman, it's even more harder for you because you're from Baltimore. Think about the stigma that comes with being from Baltimore. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of us is not in the industry like that because of the stigma here. Like, you say you're from Baltimore? Oh shit, we kind of hesitant on doing business because Baltimore got a negative, you know, they got a negative name to them. But it's gonna take you even more of an effort. It's gonna take you 10 times, 15 times, 20 times more of the effort to try to break into the industry, especially in the route that you're trying to take as a woman. You get what I mean? So it's like, keep going at it, keep doing what you're doing. Like, don't look at it like, oh, like, yo, they not trying to let us in. It's an avenue for you. Stick to your avenue and just keep prospering that way. And you're going to have more people. The more you go up, the more people are going to try to get you to compromise your integrity. Like, that's one thing I have noticed about this game, about this business. Not even going up in the industry, but just at the level that you're at now, like starting out now. Like, you got people that's like, oh, you should do this, you should rap about this. Like, I had people tell me, like, oh, you're one-dimensional because you want to rap about this, but you got all these one-dimensional artists out here and they win it. So something is working. Like, you know what I mean? Something is working. And when people are trying to tell you to do other things because you're a woman, they think that you're like, women, changing a woman's mind is so easy. That's why they target women like that. They think that they can keep putting the pressure on you to change your mind. Don't do it. I'm telling you, it's going to work out for you. Like, it's really going to work out for you. I've seen what you've done. I've actually met you in person. You seem like you're a very down-to-earth woman. You know what you want, and keep going at it for real. And
I'm gonna give Martina the last word on this topic. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, I definitely appreciate you saying that. You know, like, I would definitely prefer to be independent and grinding on my independence before I would just sell my soul or just take a bag and just change who I am completely. So, I mean, I got hope for the future as far as like women in music, just because it is like so much more like independence in music now. Like, you can do so much by yourself without a label. But at the same time, you know, I might, this guy pull a Lauryn Hill, drop an album, go platinum, and disappear on everybody. Like, no,
this is legendary as that. We fine with it. Makes you contribute to Baltimore on the map.
But hey,
you definitely
I'm gonna definitely keep going.
Yeah, definitely that, man. Like, don't stay here. I'm telling you, like, this ain't it. Like, yeah, you could love Baltimore, you can rep Baltimore, but like people think they owe this place so much that they gotta stay here and grind from here. You don't gotta do that. It's a whole world out there.
Well, I tell people all the time, the United States is bigger than Baltimore City, and the world is bigger than the United States. So if you're just trying to be local, that's all you ever be. You have to have the mindset of being an international recording artist, a global entity, and it'll take you further because there's a fan for what any of us do. You just have to build your brand and find your fan. It's not necessarily here. We come from a city of haters. They don't. If you're not in a certain type of clique, they may not fuck with you like that.
Yeah, know your audience.
Outside of it, you know, you build your audience to super serve your market. You could do it. But that's all the time we have. Kareem Ali TV. Are you serious? The podcast, Slangster.
Very serious.
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born. A black man.
Your racism bounces off me, I'm bulletproof. Your prejudice gets deflected, I'm bulletproof. Your hatred can't penetrate me, I'm bulletproof. Our minds can't be shackled no more, nah, we know the truth. Yeah, from the spot that Malcolm stood.